So the only thing you're gonna have to do before you start your analyses is the cleanup. And for the cleanup, you can follow that document that I referred to, but I'm gonna quickly summarize that again. So step 1 would be looking at those first 17 variables, which are variables that Qualtrics generated for you, so they're not part of your questionnaire. Some of these can be useful, such as, for example, the variable duration in seconds, because it tells you how long people took your survey. If they took your survey in a ridiculously short amount of time, you can delete those respondents. Maybe they only took 2 or 3 seconds to take your survey, which pretty much means that they didn't complete it. So in that case, you can use that to filter out respondents here based on duration, who took the survey in a crazy low amount of seconds. So that's something you can do first, but as soon as you've done that cleanup, you can actually go ahead and delete those first 17 variables just to remove that clutter from your database. And then once you delete those first 17 variables, your database will start right here at what's currently called Q6, which is actually the first question in your questionnaire from Qualtrics. So step 2 would be to name all of these variables. So if we go down again right here, instead of Q6, Q5, Q14, and so on, you want to give them a name that works for you. So something short, a variable name, of course, in line with the label. Second thing you want to do is check the values. Make sure that all the values are correct, that there's no odd, weird stuff in there. Like here, for example, I can already see this should be 1, 2, 3, and it says 10, 11, 12. So I'll show you how to fix that in a minute. There's one other case of that. So here it says 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whereas it actually should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the reason, by the way, why this happened, it's not your fault. It's some glitch that happens in Qualtrics when you change your questions a lot. When you delete questions and add them again, sometimes the system can freak out and start messing up the coding. So it's not your fault, but it does need to be corrected. I see another case right here. 11, 12, 13, and so on. It should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this really does need to be fixed. Here again, it says 5, 6, 7. It should be 1, 2, 3, and so on. So I'm going to show you, oh, there's a couple more right here. I'm going to show you how to fix one of them, and then you can apply that same principle to fixing the other ones. So let's go here. I assume that all of these are good, but we can quickly check. These are all good. And by good, I mean starting at 1 and using consecutive numbers without skipping numbers. These are check all that apply questions, so they only have ones. And then here's the first glitch that happened. So 10 should become 1, 11 should become 2, and 12 should become 3. So the way you do this is by going into transform, recode into same variables. Let me quickly check which variable it was. It was, do you consider yourself, so it was Q16, do you consider yourself to be a sustainable shopper? And to make sure, 10 becomes 1, 11 becomes 2, 12 becomes 13. Usually I write that down very quickly so I can't mess it up. 10 becomes 1, 11 becomes 2, and 12 becomes 3. Go to transform, recode into same variables. You find Q16, which you can also do by doing right click and then display variable names. Find Q16, click it in, old and new values. 10 becomes 1, click add. 11 becomes 2, click add. 12 becomes 3, add. Okay. Double check, 10 should become a 1, all the 11s should turn into 2s, and all the 12s should turn into 3s. So you click continue, hit OK, and now you recoded that variable. I'm gonna exit out of this for a second, but you have to make sure that the label matches the data. So now we have to click here and also change it right here. 1, this should become 2, and this should become, whoopsie, 3. Change. Okay. You have another one right here. You have several more, by the way, but here the problem is not 10, 11, 12. The problem is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I highly recommend you take a little piece of paper, you write down 6 should become 1, 7 should become 2, 8 should become 3, 9 should become 4, and 10 should become 5. The reason why you should write it down is because, trust me, you're gonna forget by the time you start clicking in another window, you're gonna forget what exactly the switch should be like. So, and it's very cumbersome to always go back. So I always write it down very quickly. So make sure that you change it not only in here by making this a 1, right? You also, I'm gonna not do that now yet, you also want to go to transform, recode in the same variables, remove this one, very important, remove the one that is still in the memory, because otherwise you're gonna re-record it. You identify that one that was messed up, you click it in, and then you again click all the new values, and again you do whatever you wrote on your piece of paper. 6 becomes 1, 7 becomes 2, 8 becomes 3, and so on. So the nature of the mistake is different in each of these cases, but you should fix them accordingly, of course. These have the same type of mistake. They all go from 11 to 17. But these ones have a different mistake. Again, they go from 5, 6, 7. So if you have any questions about this, let me know. I already recoded the first one, so that would be your example to go off of. Then the last thing you want to check is whether the measurement levels are correct for each of your variables. So for example, what is your age? SPSS thinks it is nominal, but it is not. It is actually an interval scale variable that it has numeric value. So we change type to numeric. We change this to scale. Next one, what is your gender? This actually isn't numeric, but it's coded, so it becomes numeric. So you don't have to touch the column type. You can just change here under measure, make this nominal. Next one, what's your annual household income? You will know the right measurement level by clicking on values and seeing what the values are. So the way you made it here, it's categorical. So you basically have an ordinal variable right here. What percentage of your income and so on. So you want to go over all of these, whoopsie, and make sure the measurement level is correct. When that is all done, you save your database again. You email it to your group members, and then you can start analyzing. So all of this prep should probably take about maybe 20-30 minutes at most. So it's fairly doable, and then you can dive in. But let me know if you have any questions, okay?